あなたのために日本の輸入ビデオゲームの楽しみの時間 bn-game.com
Hi everyone, this is Bobby from bn-games.com, and we're here doing another episode of Region Locked. Today we are playing Wai Wai World 2 for the Famicom.
SOS, Parsley.
Jō.
I'm not shitting.
That's the subtitle. SOS, Parsley Jō, which is Parsley Castle. And this game was made by Konami. If you don't know what the Famicom is the Japanese Nintendo, NES. The gray box that all of us know and love. And Wai Wai World is a series of games that were it's called a mashup of Konami titles, popular Konami titles, both here in the States and in Japan. There are a lot of characters you'll see in this video that do not exist in any game in the States. They were never ported. And I want to also make mention, I know this video is about an hour long. We're only going to talk for a little while, explain what the game's about, and then just show you the gameplay, kind of as an archival, because this is a complete playthrough with me and Marco. I'm playing player 1 as the red Power Ranger Mega Man Wada guy.
Yeah, he is the red Power Ranger Mega Man guy who's not really a red Power Ranger Mega Man guy.
Or Shonen Warrior?
Ronin Warrior?
Ronin Warrior. He kind of looks like that too. And Marco is the blue one. That dies a lot.
Just the blue one, though.
I also
a Power Ranger Mega Man guy.
No, I'm not one of the.
I also want to make mention that Mega Man, the Mega Man series is made by Capcom.
Yeah.
This right here is almost a playoff of Mega Man. The text is explaining something. I don't know because we don't speak Japanese.
There's some conundrum that we have to fix.
And you'll see Riki, or Rikuru, I hope I didn't butcher that, who's the main character, who's a red Power Ranger Mega Man Wada guy. That guy. And then you see the Doctor, that's Dr. Cinnamon. And
that's Crash Man. And Dr. Light.
And then the girl is...
No, it's Dr. Cinnamon!
The blue girl, the blue-haired girl is whoever you want it to be.
She's the princess that you have to save.
Dr. Cinnamon is actually a character from a game called Poppin' Twinbee, which we've done. He's from the Poppin' Twinbee series from the Super Nintendo, or Super Famicom.
And we all know there's so many games from the Poppin' Twinbee series.
And we played that one, so go and check that out in the Region Lock series. There's actually since Poppin' Twinbee was one of the Konami games original, you actually play one of the original versions of the level in here.
Oh.
So, Mike didn't actually see this, but he's here to commentate and give us his opinion.
I'll sure do my best.
So you start off by selecting a number of characters from the Konami series, which technically are power-ups.
It just turned into Mario.
There's a little bit Mario 3 here. And basically what it comes down to is you go around these side-scrolling levels to continue to side-scroll, destroying baddies like you would do in Mega Man or more Contra, with a Mega Man feel. You pick up power-ups, and those power-ups, you'll get a transformation power-up, which allows you to transform into any of the 3 characters from the listing you saw previous. So, one of us is going to have Simon Belmont. I think Marco has Simon Belmont.
Yes.
I have the Contra guy. It could be either of them.
I also have a baby.
You have a baby from one of the series that doesn't exist here.
And I forgot the other one has like a cane.
I have a sword. The lady, I don't know where she's from specifically. Like I said, there's it's a mashup of multiple Konami franchises. On top of that, most of the levels, most of them, not all of them, are that's Contra one right there, just transforming the Contra dude, which he is by the way the best power up.
No, but when he came back using his life, I mean, he had a rocket on him or something.
Oh yeah, yep. That's Japan. So.
That's how they roll. When you die, you
rock and roll, man.
Rocket.
Rock and roll. Like fretboard.
He said that too. I said that too.
Oh yeah,
he was like, he's like, I don't see it. I was like, oh bullshit, that's a guitar neck.
So I'm Contra. Marco is Simon Belmont, and they all have specific powers. Some of them lose abilities. By the way, the counter in the direct center, you see where it's counting down from 30. That is actually the timer of how much time you have before you transform back to your main fucking state.
You actually are required to use some of the characters to get to some of the secret levels. Like there's a part where you can only break some of the bricks as a baby in the underwater level.
Yeah, and like I said, most of the levels are based off of Konami games. So towards the end of the video, if you really want to see it, which I do recommend if you're interested in this kind of thing, we go through Castlevania levels, and it has Castlevania remix music. There's a Gradius level.
Ooh,
Yeah, there's
okay.
the original Gradius level,
I approve.
which was actually kind of tough on the boss. Well, not the first boss. The second boss was kind of tough. There's a Frogger level.
Yeah.
Towards the end. And actually, I have to be honest with you, the ending was the hardest part to some extent because
Did you ever know her?
yeah, multiple times.
Quite a few times.
Well,
We died.
We cut. That was 40 minutes of.
Admittedly, we did die quite a couple times in the racing.
Oh, I should mention right there the guy I am with the 70s afro. That's Goemon, Gambare Goemon, who was an ancient I want to say pirate, not pirate. He was a bandit. That's the word. He was a bandit from Japanese lore. You would have played him in a game called Legend of the Mystical Ninja for Super Nintendo. Yeah, that is what game he's from. Although
I don't know where the hell my guy's from.
I
That's
don't-
the other guy that
Chick, I think.
Oh, my person.
Yeah, hey, politically correct.
Yes,
I think
we are
you're right.
PC.
I don't know either. As far as Goemon is concerned, there were
All of a sudden, the rock is coming out again.
there are multiple games from Goemon
And then Mario.
Oh, and Goemon also has the creators of that have they have a lot of beat 'em ups for the NES. I can't remember the name. It's escaping me right now. But the creators are well known, and Konami in these days, and Konami was like pretty much the king of the NES and the Famicom. I mean, they really release most of the core stuff. Capcom would, in my opinion, be second. Mega Man was big, but Street Fighter wasn't big.
Oh, really?
Not the NES. They did DuckTales and that. They were famous for that stuff, but Konami and Castlevania was, that was it. And then Goemon, and then especially in Japan, most of the series that they play out here are extremely well known. Even ones that weren't released here, they're still known. People know what they look like because versions of them came out here eventually. This game also has a lot of variation. It's not just puzzle platforming. Frogger kind of considered a puzzle.
This is more of a strategy here.
But it breaks it up enough to where it kept it real interesting. Let's put it this way: for most of the classic captures or region locks that we do, we'll usually play it enough to get a good idea. Well, to achieve two things: get a good idea of what it is, as well as get enough footage to edit. We actually could not put this down and ended up recording the whole damn thing. So that's a pretty good indication of how entertaining this is.
Yeah, sometimes you can't record, sometimes you can't play through the whole thing for one game, and like I said at the beginning of the video, this thing's going to be an hour long because at some point, after we've kind of talked about the entire game, our experiences, and what we like and dislike, and so on and so forth, we usually have to just get enough to give you the main idea. They're not reviews, or to some extent, they're more of a this is what it is.
More of a journalistic approach to reporting what it is.
Yeah, and a blogging podcast format.
Yeah.
Always get comments. So we can review this. It's not a review. Sometimes, a lot of the games, well, let's say for Classic Capture, a lot of those games were completed because we played them a long time ago. And Region Locked, I try to play as much as possible and understand as much as possible, based on the fact that these games never were released here and will never be released here. This, for example, never was released here and it will never be. This will never hit the Virtual Console, specifically because, number one, some of these games were never licensed in Japan. In America, period. And, why would they do that? And it, as you go on later, you can see how Western audience will generally not understand or accept this, just because some of it's quirky or something. Anyone who's Castlevania fan though, if you're a real Castlevania fan, I think this is a must-buy. So I think I should explain. So the Famicom is the Japanese NES. If you've never seen one before, it does not look like what you would expect an NES to look like.
No, it's red and gold. It's pretty awesome. And it's got really short controller cables.
Well, there are a lot of cultural reasons for why it is what it is.
Also, it has a microphone. That's pretty cool.
But being that, as it may, this game can be played on a lot of current multi-cart systems, you know, like the Retrocon, I think, will do Famicom games. There are multiple systems out there that will play multiple consoles at once, you know, and
3-in-1s.
3-in-1s,
yeah.
I think I would recommend getting a standard NES controller because the controller layout is practically the same. Also, one other thing I should note about the sound. The Japanese NES, the Famicom, had a microphone on the Player 2 controller, and my Famicom volume sometimes had issues. Marco was playing it, and then he'd like slightly move the volume thing, and it makes weird buzzing noises. Sometimes you'll hear him.
Yes.
You can speak into it. You know, it's one of those things. Very interesting. You know, because eventually you got that kind of thing with the DS. It's an old idea that was reused later, but you never saw it in the States. In fact, a good one to mention is like Zelda, for example. The original Zelda, that was actually on the Famicom disk system, which used floppy 1.44 megabyte floppy disks. And when you played that version on the Famicom, there were certain enemies that could only be killed by speaking into that microphone.
Which actually stayed in the American
text
manual.
In the manual. Yeah. Although
there's obviously no way to do it.
Yeah. Why they removed that? Probably cost.
That, and I do know that not a lot of games used it. Not a lot of popular games used it.
Yeah.
There were quite a few quirky ones, but it wasn't enough. And I'm sure it was enough for them to drop so they can make more money on it. Especially since they had to remold and reshape the whole thing.
It was the Wii mode of its day.
Yes.
Legend of Zelda should have been enough.
Just real quick note though, I do want to bring this up, noting the fact that we do have some audio technical glitches every now and then because of that. Do want to apologize a bit for the quality of the video. Unfortunately, because it is an older system and it is a foreign system, we are kind of limited to the way we can record it, as trying to keep it as native as possible without doing any real adjustments
Or emulation.
So you'll notice that it's not the highest quality video. But this has actually been processed because the original had a lot of stabilization issues, which we smoothed out here enough without altering any of the shape or anything. I actually went through and manually did that, so I do want to say that is why in these parts where we're actually playing the side-scroller portions, you'll notice that it's real stable compared to, for example, the parts where we're doing the quick games or the mini game sections, such as the racing or the Gradius or the Frogger sections. I do want to apologize about that.
Should also mention that the thing is we're playing this when you record older consoles. Let's say the Famicom, for example. Famicom does not have standard RCA or composite imports
Or even S-Video.
or S-Video. We're using basically your standard coaxial RF adapter. And the thing about Japanese consoles, your NES, as you all know, connects on channel 3, channel 4. This is a foreign console. Their TV channels are different. This would only connect on channel 97. And it kind of works. It works for the most part. You have, or no, I'm sorry, 95. It was 95. So first of all, hopefully you have to have a VCR that goes that high. I have read that there are VCRs for some reason that don't go that far.
Shoot, I don't even know find it.
Yeah.
We should find out.
Oh, by the way, this is based off the Goemon series, this particular level. Goemon, if you don't know what it is, look. That's all I'm gonna say. It's based on the Legend, and then if you played Legend of Mystical Ninja, that game has a fourth or fifth sequel from this series specifically. But yeah, I mean, it's as a title, as a Famicom game, as an NES game, you can pick it up. You don't need to know the language. You don't need to know Japanese. A lot of the references might be lost on you if you don't do the research or don't have the background knowledge. Like this one, for example, probably is going to be lost on you if you haven't watched this video or don't do further research to understand where it's from and why it's important, especially to Konami, of anything. It's an Nintendo game, but it's also an expensive game. It's very rare. This game will usually retail, let's just say in the standard collector markets, for $25 to $40, depending on, that's not if you can find it with the original box, the cassette box these things used to come in. Would I say to collect it? If you're a collector of any type, and especially if you have something like the retro coms that allow these multiple playthroughs, it's worth playing because you can play it co-op, the entire thing, and it's a decent platformer. It's not very challenging until towards the end of the game. And if you have any love for any of the series like Gradius, Castlevania, Contra, they all have levels here in the game with gameplay. Well, they're all elements and based off, like the Contra level is like the first entire Contra level. Then you hit a boss. And then Gradius is 2 levels, and you actually have a boss, which is Gradius-like, and then one of them you fight like a lobster.
Yeah.
You'll see that.
It looks like, actually, no, it looks like the flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah, something like that.
You'll see that in a couple minutes. Actually, a little longer than that. I forgot how long the video is. I'm so used to them being shorter.
And I've done enough editing to cut out most of our deaths, if not all. I think I've got 1 or 2.
Yeah. Do know that this game is, like he said, it really is harder. Not in the platforming section so much, but in the later mini game sections, just because they're so sporadic and random that they kind of just throw them in and you don't expect it.
Well, they come up at certain points, but we don't speak the language, so it's like at one point you have a couple points where you select the level you're going to go to. It's a branch.
So you don't know.
And we're like, which one should we select?
Do the one that looks like a tree.
Yeah. Oh, all of them. So there's some of that. There's some elements. But it's a good game. It's going to be expensive to import any way you slice it. It's not something you're going to find at your local collector shop. If you really want it, you're going to have to do some digging. eBay is obviously the easiest way to get it in North America, probably in the UK. You have to own a Famicom. Famicoms go for about $50, generally speaking, on eBay. That's not including the Famicom disk system, which is necessary for many of the more popular NES games that we know in the States were released only on the disk system.
A Shogun on a Pogo.
Yes.
Well, it's supposed to be a samurai stick Pogo.
And he still has a samurai sword.
Yep.
What a talented Shogun, man, I tell you.
Yeah, we're just wailing on him.
Oh, but heavy armor. Oh, never mind.
It's something satisfying about it. It's got a Castlevania satisfying kind of thing.
Oh, I saw your whip.
I think.
I saw the whip.
So, but all in all, it's worth it. See, this is where you select it. See, and Mark was like, select RPG. That's gonna ask me questions, and I don't speak the language.
and I was thinking rocket propelled grenade. So I was like, obviously, we're gonna shoot shit.
No, I wanted to go the other way, and then I think that walkie-talkie is from Contra specifically.
Yeah.
If you're a Konami fan of any level, you're gonna see a lot of stuff you recognize, and forms that you never realized, because like some of these games were only released on the Super Nintendo as a sequel later on, or this is Papa Twinbee. That's the NES one.
Oh,
look at that, Mike.
Yep. I know this all too well.
This is actually really hard on that controller, to be honest with you. So
really?
Yeah. But it's the same concept.
Keep the bells going. Keep the bells going.
There's only like 2 or 3 power versions of the Famicom one. But it like I said, you'll see stuff you recognize, if not completely recognize. I think the Castlevania level for me, I was playing the entire thing. I was like, we need to record the Castlevania level, and there's like 3 different sections for that, which was pretty cool. And then you have the boss, that was interesting. you know, we beat it with all the deaths. I know this video is about an hour. We did about an hour 20. You know, first playthrough, so that was pretty good. I completely recommend it. I mean, if you have the system,
Start it.
yeah, there's multiple. I want to get the other ones out of it. And this also will introduce you to NES titles, or let's say Famicom.
They're kind of interchangeable terms, though.
Well, you're gonna see Famicom games that versions like this one, for example, Poppin' Twinbee, which we've shown this Super Famicom version, which is like the third or fourth iteration. That you might want to pick up. This is actually a good marketing tool for multiple Konami games that maybe you have or have not played. And they're, you know, they are parodies, but they're good parodies. And they're not really parodies either, they're more caricatures.
They're like more homages.
Yeah, homage. So, yeah, I completely recommend it. And it's fun, and it, you know, for an NES game as a playthrough with two people,
I think that's the
hour 20 is pretty good.
I think that's the important thing to stretch is the fact that this is a two-person co-op platformer, where, you know, not a lot of them were at this time. You know, obviously you had like the Contras, but this is a lot more than that. This is Contra plus standard platformers plus
Castlevania.
plus Gradius plus you get a lot. You really do. And like I said, it is a bit costly, but when you factor in the you know, the fact that it is so much, it really isn't too much asking. It's worth it.
But I think we've pretty much talked it. I think we're gonna let this video continue playing, like I said at the beginning of the video. It's gonna continue to show you other levels, and keep in mind also that we skipped 2 levels because of the branching paths, or 2 or 3. So we haven't even seen those yet, and we're doing this video. So you may get an hour 20 in your first playthrough, but you figure you still need to go through the other ones when you make those choices. So this game has some longevity if you really want to sit there and play through it. For a Famicom game, for an NES game, that's, you know, other than hardcore RPGs that used to take a lot longer, that's pretty good. I think it's good value for the money. But that is going to be all. This is Wai Wai World 2 SOS
Parsley
Jō, which is
Parsley Castle.
Yeah, Parsley Castle for the Famicom, original Famicom, which is Japanese NES. Please subscribe and let us know what you think. Thank you.
This is the end of the game. This was played on the Nintendo Famicom Family Computer System, which was only released in Japan. He's crying. Thank you for playing. By the way, I'm talking through the microphone on Player 2's controller. Innovation, people. Innovation.